Thank you so much. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce to you our Associate Minister, Reverend Cathy Carver, with her maybe a slightly outside the box look at what this religion or this spirituality really means to us. Make it her. Or both.
First, I'd like to thank Sunshine Smith, the service leader today. She's kind of a person that does so much and very little recognition, so I'd like to thank you. I only say that when she says something nice, of course. Also, I would like to thank the choir, who sang beautifully. And sometimes I'm just so glad they're not up and away yet. And Jack Nibanian, the choir director. But we have a miracle sitting with us today in the front row, Chase Gomez. Chase had a serious operation, what, 3 weeks ago, Chase?
A
couple weeks ago. I couldn't believe he could come today. I've been out of town, so I thought that he was home in bed, recovering. And then I find out he's here. So thank you, God. The title today, as you can see, is called The Fifth Dimension. Now, we've thought of humanity's evolution as an ascent, a going up higher, up and away. And just as we climb a ladder from the top to the bottom, step by step, so do we see evolution as going ever up to greater heights. Over the centuries, this upward climb of our race has been compared to Jacob's ladder, the chakras, man's spinal column. But let's take a look at the past to get an idea of where we are today. What progress have we made? Have we made any? And where are we headed? Historically, there's always been a leader for each age of man's evolution. And I want you to look for the hidden meaning as we examine this. Moses, everybody recognizes. Oh, what was the man who played in that movie? Charles Heston, yes. I know him anywhere. Moses was the Old Testament leader who lived during the age of Taurus, symbolized by the bull. The Israelites, coincidentally, worshipped a golden bull. But look at the deeper meanings again. Bulls are noted for being bull-headed and also for their sexual prowess. Do you think it was really an accident that Israel's special covenant with God was circumcision? Do you see the obvious connection? Mosaic teachings were for people who were aware only of their animal nature. This is represented by the second of the three lower chakras. The sexual center in both animals and human are the same. They both have them. The Israelites were called children because they were at the foundation level of truth, the stone level. Moses was a great lawgiver. Again, it's no coincidence that he chiseled the commandments in stone. Now, stone is great for a foundation, but you can't assimilate stone. You can't digest it or eat it. The truth is presented, but you just look at it. It's a foundation. The next step up the spinal column of evolution was the navel chakra, the bud stage of humanity. I love this. Hence, Buddha, the great Buddha, He usually is pictured as a very fat man with a huge stomach. But those who never understood his contribution joked about him contemplating his navel. That's because they didn't realize that the third chakra is the navel chakra and represents the assimilation of food. Buddha embodied the higher stage of evolution where men could begin to digest or understanding truth. Along comes Jesus, the pioneer of the Piscean age, symbolized by the fish. This is coincidentally indicated by having fishermen apostles and miracles like loaves and fishes. He was the leader of the flower stage of humanity. He was the one that showed men how to die to their humanity and rise to their divinity, the flower, their real nature. But just as a caterpillar crawling on the ground does not resemble a butterfly, man rarely looks divine. Sorry, men. The heart chakra represents the flower of divinity. It's no coincidence, again, that so many paintings of Jesus show him pointing to his sacred heart, the fourth chakra. And he taught, love one another. Awake thou that sleepest, come follow me. Follow me. That meant we could follow him. Notice the people he taught were never called children. And do you really think it's an accident that his first miracle was to change water into wine, spirits? His whole message was transmutation, to change man into its divine spirit. What a wonderful parallel once you see it. He was the way shower, the example of man's divinity. He wanted to awaken us from the sleep of illusion to know the truth that we are not human. We are spirits wearing bodies as vehicles for a temporary experience on planet Earth. Just like the Mars rover is running around in a vehicle on Mars. His mission was to awaken us to the truth that we're not subject to matter, but its creators. His resurrection showed that man is not subject to death, but is life eternal. Listen to this, because this is really important. When we know what we are, divine, that's the truth that sets us free from the weight and density of our humanity. Jesus lived a very dramatic life. He knew it could be easily pictured by the imagination of men, and later by the Bible itself. He knew these pictures were powerful, and they would imprint on men's souls in the future, and that finally men would grow mentally and spiritually to the point where they begin to understand what was really meant by these symbolic pictures. In each of these pictures, he showed us how to rise, to ascend from the duality of the third dimension to the oneness of the fifth dimension. And there are infinite levels of consciousness. There are infinite parallel universes. Or as Jesus said, in my Father's house there are many mansions. When we know the truth of our divinity and feel it in our hearts, we have married our hearts and our heads to function as one tremendous power. Jesus taught men to stop eating the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. because he knew that it produced two opposite fruits, good and bad, high and low, life and death, male and female, black and white, up and down. The world of duality, the third dimension. Jesus' resurrection pictured man's return to the Garden of Eden. He showed them how to eat the tree of life, guarded in the center of the original Garden of Eden. When, like Jesus, we have embraced our divinity, we leave the world of duality and we enter the fifth dimension, oneness. We finally become aware of the tree of life in the center of the garden. Then we eat just one fruit. We have just one result, life. Death will be no more. This brings the metaphor of the Garden of Eden to its rightful conclusion, paradise. In the West, we've given up on the Bible to a great extent because we're modern. We live in a world of computers and iPhones, planes, and the internet. We don't have time for Bibles. And besides, it was written for shepherds and camel herders, and we don't relate to that. Plus, as time went by, we lost interest in the spiritual and became materialists and went from God to science. But finally, these two are merging. They are becoming one. And we in the West are beginning to wake up to the fact that modern science and religion are saying the exact same things Jesus did 2,000 years ago. How did he know this? Obviously, he had accessed the field, the divine being that we all are. Today we can go to the internet. We can watch Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza and some of the great people on the internet where they're brilliant scientists and they're discussing how to bring the heart and the head together to function as one. We've finally reached a stage of evolution, the flower that Jesus told us would come. We're beginning to recognize and therefore beginning to be able to use our divine powers. Hear the words of the great Jesus Christ. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, the mind, the heart, within each one of us, everywhere. And all else shall be added to you in the outer, because the mind is creative of everything you see. The word evil spelled backwards is live. And we've had it all backwards. And that's how we've had so much evil in our world. We thought that the world out there was the world of cause. We thought it had control and power over us. Now we see that we have power over it. Our minds, with their powerful inner thoughts, beliefs, and the feelings of our heart, create the world that we see without, the world of effects. No wonder Jesus said, "Judge not by appearances, but judge righteous judgment." Today I want to share something with you that I just recently thought would help us all understand and finally begin to use our powers to create things. Oh, before we do that, there's one other thing we need to know, and that is time is not real. It is an illusion. There's only now. There really is only now. Remember, Jesus said, pray believing ye have received, past tense, and ye shall receive, future tense. We have been trying to bring the future into the present, but our logical minds couldn't do it. It didn't make sense to us. Keep listening. It finally does. Quantum physics, the new science, has proved that time and space are not real, but illusions projected for the third dimension. In reality, everything is happening now. The past is happening now. The future is happening now. The present is happening now. Time and space are illusions created to show ideas, to slow ideas down from their high vibrational state to our low, dense vibrational state. It's also like that to keep us from creating our horrible creations instantly. We have to learn to be good creators and to create good and no evil. But the point we must see today is this. Cutting-edge science has proved, only in the last couple of years, this world is a mental construct. Many are even saying it's a virtual reality. That means we participate in the creation of everything. On YouTube, right now, there's a video called The Emergent Universe, and a whole group of quantum physicists explain how the world emerges from a universal mind. Isn't that amazing? Now here's what makes Jesus, what he said, pray believing you have received and ye shall receive. This is what makes it logical to our minds. We think of the future now in our minds. So the future really is present, right here, right now, in our minds. When you imagine the future or the past, you see it. It's right in your own head. So we already do have exactly what we think about now. The past and the future have always been present in our minds. If you close your eyes right now, close them now and just think of a moment in your past, hopefully a wonderful moment. You see it in your mind right now. You have it. You have it in the place where you create. The kingdom of heaven within. That's why Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom, because that's the creative power. And then all else that you thought about and visualized is added. You can see in your mind's eye, even when you can't see with your physical eyes. Remember, your mind creates your reality. Nothing becomes real until you desire it, think about it, concentrate on it, focus on it, put your attention on it, and believe it's possible. Your inner mental activities co-create the world outside. Unity has always said, thoughts are things. Thoughts held in mind produce after kind. These were not analogies. These were facts. This is the literal truth. And now, knowledge without a practical use is has not much value. So today, let's have a concrete example of how to use this power. And now I want to have you all close your eyes, and I want us each to pick a car we want. A nice new car. Or if you prefer old ones, that's up to you. What make is it? Is your car white or blue, purple, green, striped? Is it 2-door, 4 doors, SUV, sports car, luxury car? Do you want a rear view camera? Fill it with what you want. Leather seats, GPS. Now take a minute and just see your car. And if you've closed your eyes and are sleeping, dream about it. Now see yourself driving this new car. Feel the wind from the air or the air conditioner blowing on your face. Hear yourself say, "This is my new car." Feel the leather seats under you. Smell the new car smell. Feel how great you feel driving your new car. Do you feel good? Yeah. Okay, right now you have that car. It exists in your mind now. Now maybe some of you will find you're quick creators. If so, please drive your new car to church next week and tell us all about it. But most of us will have to repeat this scene in our minds often. Better yet, put a picture of your new car on your mirror. I'm sure you look at yourself once or twice a day. We saw the car. We heard the words. We felt the thrill of driving it. We smelled the car. We used every 5 senses to activate this pattern. The mystics have always said, as within, so without. Now we know why. Now remember, if your new car doesn't appear next week, don't lose faith. In the third dimension, things do take time to slow down so we can see them. Now take a minute and think about the tremendous power this simple but esoteric knowledge gives us. We now have whatever we will have. We have the blueprint, and then we'll have the thing. Practice visioning at home, whatever you want. Do you want a gorgeous body? I don't know anybody that doesn't, frankly. Would you prefer to be younger? Only the babies are against that. So think about what you really value. Do you want a romantic relationship? Most people do. Do you want to be popular? I hardly know anyone that wants to be shunned. And do not turn on your TV and watch the news. They're pictures that just go into your imagination, and the more you focus on it, you go into a hypnotic state, and it just seeps right into your mind. And then you produce things on the outer that resemble that. Plus, so many times the announcer says, and now the terrible news for the day is 4 people died, 10 people were murdered, and 5 have a new breed of disease. And that's the good news. And now for the other news. Instead, imagine with your mind's eye what you want to have appear in your life. Powerful men throughout the ages have been called seers, and that's not Sears and Roebuck, S-E-E-R-S. Now we know why. They knew how to see what they want to create it. Today, let's make an intention to raise our vibrations, because every time each one of us ascends in consciousness, we help the world, the whole world ascend. We change the world to reflect a higher frequency. Or as somebody said, you know, you're really a freak. I hope they meant frequency. The world gets better as we do. It's getting close to the end. Not that close.
Keep going.
So I want you to watch your thoughts. I want you to watch your feelings with your inner eyes. And clean up your act. Self-observation uses your creative inner senses to control your outer. It's a powerful tool for dropping negativity and raising your vibration. And recently I was playing tennis with a friend. And it was rather an unpleasant situation. I bit my lip and headed into the ladies' room. And I was gone a long time. Finally, when I came out, the girl who was waiting for me said, "What took you so long?" And I thought, if you only knew that I'd want to kill you a moment ago. So realize now that when you can stop. I didn't strangle her. I was really proud of myself. I didn't spit at her. I didn't hit her with my tennis racket. These are the things that you can stop yourself from doing once you see yourself about to do them. So one of my favorite signs is stop, look, and listen to yourself. Self-observation is powerful. And watch your mouth. Words come from the throat chakra, which is the creative chakra. The word really does become flesh. And know whatever you send out, whether it's verbal, emotional, monetarily, it really does come back to you in the form of matter. So send out good things, blessings, love, healing, forgiveness. I willed to forgive that tennis player. Let's not stay in this play of duality any longer. It's run its time. We've created something good and beautiful. Things, yes. Beautiful artwork. Lots of things. But we've created wars, famine, poverty, disease, aging, and death. I don't think we have a very good record. That's why we're not members yet of the Galactic Federation. Instead, let's make the decision to ascend. Let's willingly die to the third dimension of duality with its illusions and rise to the fifth dimension where we see only our oneness, truth, beauty, and love. Let's follow the great avatar. Let's ascend. Let's create a new heaven and a new earth. When you create a new heaven with your mind within, it has to come out there and be seen. When Jesus said you must be born again, he didn't mean to come out of the womb again. It was bad enough the first time for you. We must be born again to remember our true nature, your fifth dimensional self. Let us demonstrate the truth. Whoops, that's the truth. No, that's the one before that. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, there's only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. One power. Not two, good and evil, life and death. And as the great poet Rumi said, we are not a drop in the ocean. We are the ocean in a drop. And what a truth that is. Thank you.